Hey guys, welcome back. This is Steven Kupka for another quick tutorial. This one's going to be on how to create fog. This same effect can be used for dust with the brushes on the tutorial that I taught you how to make before. But today I'm just going to show you how to use some of the regular brushes that are in your Photoshop palette to create a fog effect. So I've opened Photoshop and I'm going to create a new document, and I'm just going to go pick random numbers out of my head. 1500 by 900. Click OK, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this background layer with black so that I can see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to create 3 new layers. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to select the layer 1 that I have down here, go over to my brushes, I'm going to click brush, and you have to make sure that you're on the brush tool. So you can either do or hitting the B key on your keyboard. And you can see the brushes displayed there. I'm going to choose number 30, and I'm going to change the size to about, let's go a little bit less than 100 pixels to maybe 90. Then I'm going to go down here to my colors, my foreground colors, and I'm going to change it to a very dark gray, something like that, which is 3F for people. I'm going to just draw a couple of these lines. I want to make sure that it's pretty soft and fluid looking. And I like to do it a little bit higher bank of fog up towards the right. Now I'm going to go over to layer 2, and I'm going to change the foreground color to a brighter gray, a little bit whiter. That's 6060 in your HTML. Then I'm going to go back to my brush, and I'm going to change the size to something smaller, maybe about 70. Well, 65, that'll work too. I'm going to go back down here and just create a few more shapes here like this. It doesn't have to be really anything specific. Just try to leave some gaps for the darker gray to show down here. I'm going to repeat this process by going to layer 3, going to a smaller brush and changing my foreground to something a little bit brighter again. Now when you're done with this, what you're going to end up doing to each one of these layers separately is adding a separate amount of blur to it by going to Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And you can set each layer's blur to be slightly different. You're going to want to make the bottom layers, the darker gray, a higher amount of blur than you would the top layers. And that will create, let me zoom out here so I can see it, that will create more of the fog effect that you're going to end up looking for. So okay, do the same thing again to layer 2, Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Zoom out so I can see it. Go a little bit less. Not so much that you can see the brush strokes, but well, enough that you can see the brush strokes, but not so much that it totally just loses the shape. Because if you've ever watched fog before, you can actually see that it has shapes and billows to it. So that's the effect that we're going here. Gaussian blur, zoom out again, and drop the top one down to even less than you did before. Whoops, there you go. Okay, now you may want to play with this a little bit. I'm going to add another layer and repeat the process with a brighter shade of gray and a smaller brush. But you can just go ahead and play around with this. I used to have an image that I did that I could show you as an example of what this would look like when it's finished, but it's currently not on this hard drive. So that can be added in the description later. Thank you very much for watching, guys.